are seeing a slight cooling, and that brings us to our next subject. Summer doesn't last forever, unfortunately. And here to help us with some of the transitions that particularly our kids are going to be going back into school with, Dr. Alexandra Kohlhase from Essentia Health. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning.
So, summer's running out in a hurry, isn't it?
It sure is.
And that gives us just enough time to really wind ourselves up with thinking about all the stress of back to school. What are you seeing with children these days? It seems like they're under more pressure than ever to perform, and that has to be playing into it, right?
Absolutely. I think that, kids are having fewer opportunities to just be kids. We were just talking about how kids are returning to school earlier, being expected to meet high academic standards at younger and younger ages. Yeah. And certainly, school can be both exciting and also very nerve-wracking at this time of year to sort of have to abandon the fun and the play of summer and get back to the grindstone.
Yeah. So that's what troubles me the most about this, right, is that I'm lucky enough to have a kid who loves school, loves learning. She's a great bunch of kids that she's friends with, but not everybody has that advantage. Kids sometimes are just not excited to be in that school environment. What's a way to address that with your child if that's their struggle?
That's a great question. I think that a lot of it has to do with identifying why your child is not excited. Oftentimes school is hard for them.
Yeah.
Human beings don't like to do things that are challenging or that seem impossible.
Yeah.
So it could be, an undiagnosed attention deficit issue or a learning disability. It could be that, they're having difficulties with comprehension. Mm-hmm. Certain kids don't do well with certain learning styles. Yeah. And then certainly the social aspect too. If kids don't have friends, that's not a happy, safe place to be.
Yeah.
And so I think trying to identify what the barriers are and then supporting your child and problem solving, how to address that issue.
Right. There's a lot to unpack there, though, right? Because it could be such a variety of influences going on with this one tiny little person. And sometimes they aren't great at articulating what is making them nervous. What's the best way to start that conversation with your kid?
I think, validating, opening the door and saying this is a big change. You really have enjoyed summer. Hopefully it's been a great summer. And, tell me about what you're looking forward to and what you're not looking forward to. I think just even naming that it's okay and normal to have very mixed feelings, or perhaps not even mixed feelings. Maybe children are just dreading it.
Yeah.
And I think letting them know that that's okay, but that you want to help them.
Yeah.
School is important. It's a child's job at that point in their lives, right? So helping them to be successful, just like we would try to as their older children or adults performing at work every day.
Right. And adults can kind of identify too, like the last time you had to switch a job or maybe go to a new church or move your house to a new neighborhood where you don't have your old friends. That's a daunting proposition for a lot of people who aren't naturally extroverted, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And if we think about it, every year our children are getting a new boss, so to speak,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
So I think that if we have older children who have maybe had that teacher or heard good things about that teacher, that's helpful. Yes.
Yeah.
And any kind of experiences that they can have going in and seeing their new classroom, meeting their teacher ahead of time, that's really helpful too.
Okay, so you can help with the transition. Yes. And is it good to talk it up? Is it good to have positive expectations of this school year, or should you just kind of let it lie because promises, right?
I think that it's good to foster a sense of optimism, but not to overdo it or make promises that you can't keep, right? If you say this is going to be the best year ever, you have no control over that.
Right.
But certainly to say, I'm going to help you be successful, and here are some goals that we have. Maybe here are some things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at a calendar and this long until Halloween. Giving them some milestones too. Right. But in a realistic way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, for anybody who's struggling with back to school scaries, I feel for you. It's always a little daunting. You don't get to pick your teacher or your classroom, sometimes not even your school, so my heart goes out to you. But we will have all of Dr. Kohlhase's information and some tips for you guys, you parents in particular, about how you can have those conversations with the kids. They'll be on our website after the show, and we're going to come back and take a look at the fortunately summery weather for now. Thank you, Dr. Kohlhase, after the break.